He kissed me in front of everyone. The roar of the crowd was still fading when his lips brushed mine fast. Reckless. Like he didn't care about the cameras or the teammates staring in disbelief. And for a split second, I didn't either. Then I ran. The squeak of my sneakers echoed through the corridor as I sprinted out of the gym, leaving behind the echo of cheers, confusion, and the taste of him still trembling on my lips. That was the moment I realized two things. One, that my best friend had just blown up both of our lives. And two, I wasn't sure I wanted to put the pieces back together. Ethan Walker, 6'3", broad-shouldered, captain of the university basketball team, was everything I wasn't. Loud, confident, built like the American dream. He'd been my roommate since freshman year, and somehow, despite his popularity, we clicked. He was the storm, I was the quiet before it. And I was Liam Hayes' English major, hopeless romantic, part-time barista, full-time disaster when it came to feelings. We'd been through it all. 2 a.m. ramen, drunken confessions about dreams, late-night study sessions where I'd secretly watch him fall asleep mid-sentence. His face relaxed, boyish. But none of that prepared me for the way he looked at me that night. Like he'd been holding something back for years and finally couldn't anymore. I didn't stop running until I reached the back of the gym, the air cold against my burning skin. My chest heaved as I tried to make sense of it all. He kissed me. Ethan kissed me. I wanted to laugh, or scream, or maybe both. The locker room door creaked open, and there he was still in his jersey, still panting from the game, but his eyes weren't the same. "Liam," he said softly, his voice cracking like the first note of a sad song. "Wait, I can't," I muttered, backing away. You what the hell was that, Ethan?" His jaw tightened. It was me finally being honest. The words landed heavier than the sound of the crowd outside. "Honest," I barked out, a short, bitter laugh. "You kissed me in front of everyone. That's not honesty, that's chaos." "Then call me chaos," he said, stepping closer. "Because I can't keep pretending anymore." And in that instant, every wall I'd built between us started to crumble. That night, campus was buzzing. Twitter, Instagram, even the university forum, all ablaze with clips of the kiss. Ethan Walker kisses his best friend. Is the captain gay? Who's the mystery guy? Spoiler, I wasn't a mystery. By morning, I was the most talked about person on campus. People whispered in the cafeteria. Professors gave me sympathetic looks, and my inbox was full of messages half supportive, half cruel. But Ethan, he didn't hide. He walked into the dining hall like he owned the place, spotted me across the room, and sat right next to me. "Morning," he said, as if nothing had happened. I nearly choked on my coffee. "Morning? Are you serious right now?" He leaned back, smirking. "Serious as the fact that I'm not taking it back. You can't just, I can." He cut me off gently. And I did. My pulse was pounding. "Ethan, people are talking. About you. About me. You could lose your scholarship. The team, they'll deal," he said firmly. "I'm done hiding, Lee." My breath caught at the nickname. He hadn't used it since sophomore year, when I was sick and he'd stayed up all night making soup that tasted like regret and love. I wanted to be angry. I really did. But anger was hard when the person sitting beside you looked at you like you were the only thing keeping him breathing. "Why now?" I whispered. He hesitated. "Because I thought I'd lose you either way. And if I'm going to lose you, I want to do it telling the truth." Silence stretched between us. The cafeteria noise faded into background hum laughter. Plates clinking. The hiss of the espresso machine all distant. "You're not losing me," I said quietly. "But you're making it really damn hard to stay." He smiled, sad and soft. "Then I'll fight to make it easy." And somehow I believed him. By the end of the week, the whispers turned into headlines. Local news picked it up. College basketball star comes out after game kiss. Reporters camped outside campus gates. Teammates avoided eye contact. Coaches called him in for talks. Meanwhile, I tried to disappear, but Ethan didn't let me. He'd find me at the library, drop off coffee on my table with a small smile. Sometimes he wouldn't say a word, just sit across from me, doing his homework like we were still just two idiots trying to survive finals. And little by little, my anger began to unravel. One night, I found him alone in the gym again. The lights were off except for one over the hoop. He was shooting free throws, the sound of the ball echoing through the empty space. "You're supposed to be at practice," I said. He looked up, sweat glistening down his neck. "Got benched for the next game." I frowned. "Because of?" He nodded. "They said it's about team image." Something in me snapped. "That's bullshit," I shouted. "You win them games, Ethan. You are the damn team." He chuckled softly. "Calm down, Hayes. You're cute when you're mad." I walked closer, glaring. "This isn't funny." "No," he said, voice low. "It's not. But you standing here, fighting for me? That is." And before I could argue, he dropped the basketball and crossed the space between us. The air shifted thick, electric, inevitable. "Ethan, say you didn't feel it," he whispered. "That night. Say the kiss meant nothing." Couldn't, because it wasn't just a kiss. It was years of late nights, quiet smiles, hidden touches all collapsing into one breathless second. "I can't," I said, voice trembling. "Then don't," he murmured, and kissed me again. The world felt smaller in that kiss. The hum of the fluorescent lights above, the echo of a dropped ball rolling away, all of it faded until there was just him. His breath, his warmth, the quiet, desperate press of his lips against mine. This time I didn't run. When we finally broke apart, both of us were shaking. His forehead rested against mine, and for a heartbeat, neither of us spoke. "I've wanted this for so long," Ethan whispered, his voice barely audible. "Since sophomore year. Since you smiled at me with that stupid coffee stain on your shirt." I laughed softly, tears burning behind my eyes. "That was your fault. You bumped into me." "Maybe I did it on purpose," he said, a hint of a grin curving his mouth. "Guess it worked." And for the first time since that night, I smiled without fear. But the world outside the gym wasn't as forgiving. Rumors twisted into cruelty. The university board called Ethan in for a meeting about public conduct. Parents of teammates sent complaints. Sponsors pulled out. And me? I was suddenly the distraction. Everywhere I went, eyes followed. Some pitted, some sneered, others whispered. The quiet corners of campus that once felt safe now buzzed with judgment. One evening, as I left my shift at the campus cafe, I found a note taped to the door. "FGS don't belong here." My hands trembled as I pulled it down. Ethan found out an hour later. He showed up at my dorm, eyes blazing, fists clenched. "Who did it?" "I don't know," I said quietly. "And it doesn't matter." "It does matter," he snapped. "They can't." I stepped closer, pressing a hand to his chest. "Ethan, if you fight everyone who hates us, you'll never stop fighting." He froze. His heartbeat thudded against my palm, wild, angry, alive. "Then what do we do?" he asked, voice breaking. "We live," I whispered, loudly, honestly. "That's how we win." He stared at me for a long time before nodding, jaw tight with determination. "Then we live." For the next few weeks, that's exactly what we tried to do. We walked together through campus, ate lunch in the courtyard, studied in the library, sometimes holding hands under the table when no one was looking. It wasn't easy. Every day felt like a silent protest, every smile a rebellion. But slowly, something changed. A few of Ethan's teammates, the ones who'd once kept their distance, started talking to him again. One even patted him on the shoulder after a rough practice. Professors stopped giving me pitying looks. The whispers grew quieter. And maybe the world didn't fully accept us, but it had stopped spitting us out. Then came the night of the championship. The team had made it to the finals, the same arena, the same roaring crowd as the night everything changed. I wasn't sure if I should go. Part of me still feared being seen. But when I looked at Ethan's text, "front row, please," couldn't say no. The game was brutal. Sweat, tension, screams from the stands. Ethan played like a man on fire, every move sharp and deliberate. With seconds left on the clock, The score was tied. Ethan dribbled, faked right, spun left, and shot. The ball soared. Time seemed to hold its breath. Then swish. The crowd exploded. The team rushed the court, lifting him into the air. Cameras flashed, cheers thundered, confetti rained down. And through it all, he found me in the stands. That same look, the one from before, locked between us. He dropped from his teammates' arms, pushed through the reporters, and climbed the steps toward me. My heart pounded. Ethan, before I could say more, he grabbed my hand, pulled me close, and kissed me. Right there, in front of thousands. Again. This time I didn't run. The world roared around us. But in that moment, I only heard the sound of my heart finally catching up with his. Later that night, after the celebration faded and the stadium emptied, we sat together on the bleachers. He still wore his jersey, the number gleaming faintly under the arena lights. His fingers brushed mine, tentative and warm. "Do you ever regret it?" I asked quietly. He turned to me, eyebrows furrowed. "Regret what?" "Us. The kiss. Everything that came after." He smiled, not the confident, show-off grin everyone knew, but the real one, the one only I ever saw. "No," he said simply. "I regret waiting so long to love you out loud." Something inside me broke and healed all at once. I leaned in, resting my head on his shoulder. "You're insane, you know that?" "Completely," he said, laughing softly. "But only for you." The weeks that followed felt lighter. The university eventually issued a statement about inclusivity in athletics. Sponsors came back. The world moved on as it always does. But for us, something fundamental had shifted. We didn't need to hide anymore. We went to games, held hands in public, took late-night drives with the windows down and the music too loud. Sometimes we fought about silly things, about serious things, but it always ended the same way. Laughter, kisses, whispered apologies. And on quiet nights, when the world finally stopped spinning, he'd pull me close, kiss my forehead, and say, "Still think chaos is a bad thing?" I'd smile into his chest. "Not when it's ours." Graduation came faster than I expected. He was scouted by a professional team in California. I got accepted into a writing program in New York. For a while, I thought that would be the end of our story, two lines that met briefly before parting forever. But love, real love, doesn't fade like that. We learned to build bridges over miles, late-night video calls, surprise weekend visits, long letters when the distance felt unbearable. And somehow it worked. 2 years later, I was sitting courtside again. Different arena, same electric air. Ethan was in his pro uniform now, taller, sharper. But when he spotted me in the crowd, his smile was still the same, that stupid, heart-melting grin that started it all. After the game, he jogged over, sweat-soaked and radiant. Reporters swarmed around, cameras flashing. "Liam Hayes," one of them called. "You still writing love stories?" I laughed, meeting Ethan's eyes. "Only the true ones." He reached for my hand, right there in front of everyone. "Then write this one with me." The words hit me like a pulse. "Always," I said. He leaned down, kissed me again, not as an apology, not as a confession, but as a promise. The arena erupted, and I realized something I'd spent years running from. Love doesn't need permission. It just needs courage. Years later, when people asked how our story began, I always smiled and said, "On a basketball court, with a kiss that ruined everything and saved the rest." Because sometimes the best kind of chaos is love. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.